What's going on, guys? Matt here. So today we are looking at the NedFoss Black Phoenix. Now, NedFoss might not be a company that you've heard of. They seem to be a newer knife company on the market. You might have seen an advertisement for them here and there, but we are looking at this NedFoss Black Phoenix. Now, out of full disclosure, I do want to mention up top that NedFoss did reach out to me. They asked me if I'd be interested in reviewing any of their knives, and the Black Phoenix was one I mentioned, I would be interested in reviewing. I did fully disclose to them that I would be honest in my review. Even if I did not like the knife, they said, no problem, that's what we expect. So they went ahead and sent it over anyway. So that's good to hear. But we do, as Nick Shabazz always says, have to assume this is kind of going to be the best fit and finish from the factory. The ones that they send out to reviewers, you would assume. Maybe they look over a little bit more closely than others. Anyway, with that out of the way, let's do some size comparisons real quick. So let's compare it to what I see as kind of competition, maybe not the San Mai version, but, the SRK, especially the SK5 version, they go for about the same price. Similar size blade, similar function, I would say. This is, a multi-utility knife, multi-use utility knife. I see this as that as well, maybe a little bit more geared as a Marshall blade with the double guard. Okay, let's compare it to something you guys know, Amora. There we go. And I did that vinegar patina, and that's starting to come off with some wear right there. So, all right, let's see, what else? Oh, you guys are gonna like this. Now, maybe many of you guys don't know the size of this blade, but it's super cool, so I'm gonna show it anyway on camera. Let me wipe it off first. The Cold Steel Warcraft handle, new version in San Mai. Oh, yeah, okay, all right. I see what you're doing, Cold Steel. You took away our 3V, which I'm still not happy about, but you made it in San Mai. Nice lamination line right there. And look what you did. You took away the finger grooves. You got little finger divots right here, but no grooves. And that's so much better. Oh my gosh. I love this blade, guys. I'm going to do a really extensive review on this because I haven't seen many out there. Outstanding blade, Cold Steel. Well done on the Cold Steel Warcraft Tonto, sorry, whatever. All right, let's keep moving. Let's talk about the specs real quick. So we're looking at a 5.5-inch blade, 11 inches overall, 4.5 millimeters thick. It seemed a little bit thicker on my calipers, maybe just under 5. It is 8CR14 MOV. It comes with a real leather sheath. That's not pleather or anything like that. And weighs 10.9 ounces, has G10 handle scales. You can see this is a full tang knife. And it is going to cost you about, they're $45 right now on Amazon, so they might go a little bit more. Just depends. Let's say a clean 50, right? So let's talk about what I like, what I don't mind, what I dislike, and something unique on the NedFoss Black Phoenix. So first of all, I really like this design. I think it has a kind of a really nasty design, kind of a very fighter knife design with that double guard. It has similarities to, I think, a couple of Tops knives that I think they borrow, these designs from classic fighting knives with that double guard and with that kind of drop point. So I just think it's a really compelling look. It's not just a, Essie, again, love you to death, but a boring drop point. This is kind of a spear point with that swedge on the top, with the guard. Really interesting, really cool looking knife, in my opinion. Another thing I love, guys, this handle. Now, you guys know I prefer not to have finger grooves. I just raved on how the new Warcraft Tonto by Cold Steel didn't have finger grooves. These really align very well with my hand, and also they're not pointy. They're very well contoured where the grooves are. I think that some knives, they get too sharp with their grooves, and so when you slide in and out of them, if you're doing hard use, they can cause hot spots. But this just locks my hand in, and this handle, whew, it's outstanding. Yeah, would I prefer not to have finger grooves? Probably, but these just index with my hand perfectly. Now that could be an issue with you guys if maybe you have smaller or bigger hands than mine. So maybe get your hands on one of these if you can. Amazon has free returns if it really doesn't feel right in your hand. But beyond the just the grip or the finger grooves, the G10 is just milled very nicely. This is really smooth. There's not really it's not proud or anything like that. So the G10 is milled very nicely, and I like these cutouts, kind of where it divots right there. Just outstanding handle on this blade, guys. You guys know I've been tempted to cut that guard off, right? Maybe I will, because I think that would really bring this knife, to another level. But anyway, outstanding handle on that NedFoss, just really, really well done. I also like the blade. It's a simple drop point, but that swedge, again, it adds a little bit of a design flair. Cuts off on the weight just a tiny bit. It's not really gonna minimize the effectiveness. If you want to use this as a camp knife, I think it will work perfectly fine as that. Yes, I think it's more geared towards a fighting knife, but it's not swedged so much where it's going to chew up a baton or anything like that. A lot less than a Bowie would, So I think that drop point blade has enough belly, has enough straights to be a perfectly useful tool as a camp knife. I mean, if you compare it to, let's say, the SRK, it's really not all that much different, right? Honestly, the SRK, just the tip goes up a little bit, but they have about the same amount of belly, about the same amount of straight. I think it would be a great all-around utility knife. So the balance as well, and that kind of comes with the overall feel and design of the blade. It feels like a fighting knife is what it feels like. And I think part of that is it's kind of handle heavy. It's very handle heavy, you can see. There's just a lot of meat back at this handle. And so the blade just feels like it wants to move really quickly. So that lends itself to being a Marshall blade. But I really, really like the balance. Also, now you guys probably can't tell, but I actually used this a decent amount. I batoned through 5, 6, 3, 4, 5-inch logs, handled it perfectly fine. And you know what else handled it really well? That freaking coating, man. I was blown away by how little wear there was from all that batoning on this coating. You compare that to, let's see, I batoned one log with this. This is my newer Ontario. This is, I have an older one as well, but this is the newer SP1. That's what happened from one log. You can see the difference. I think that this is a much better, whatever it is, a Teflon coating probably. Much better, much, better baked on. Maybe not as good as Essie's, but pretty darn close with that coating. So well done on that coating. Just very surprising for, what you're getting for around $45. Obviously, this is going to be a very durable knife with that full tang being, 4.5 to 5 millimeters thick. You're not going to have to worry about this thing. And like we talk about with some of these handles, these Kraton, these can loosen up over time. I wouldn't worry about it though, guys. But you don't have to worry about that with this knife. It's just not going to happen. And last thing I really, really like is the sheath. I think the sheath is excellent. For it being a $45, $50 knife, it's hit or miss if something's going to have a decent sheath. This is just a solid leather sheath. It's pretty basic, has some nice design imprints right there. The stitching is solid. It's good, thick leather. What is that? 2 millimeter, 3 millimeter thick leather. So, it slots in there nicely. It fits really, really well. Just a solid sheath, especially for the price, guys. Good sheath. So let's talk about what I don't mind. Now, 8CR14 MOV, it's not a bad steel. It's not a great steel. It's a perfectly adequate steel. It's a working steel. That's what I call these. The steels like SK5, 1095, 1075, AUS 8, 8CR13, 8CR14, even 9CR, they are working steels. They're going to hold an edge just fine. Some of them will not be rust resistant. Some of them will have minimal rust resistance like this. It technically is a stainless, but, it will rust on you. So I think that 8CR14, totally adequate steel for the price and for the design, but it's not like an amazing steel choice. For example, you have blades that are approaching this price that are in D2. Would I have liked to see this in D2? Absolutely, especially for that price. Now that would have been a positive, would be price for materials. But at this price, it's a perfectly adequate steel. So let's talk about what I don't like. So it's really just one thing, and it has more to do with the sheath. So with the sheath, I think the sheath is excellent. I think the sheath is honestly quite a fantastic sheath for the price you're paying. But this strap, you can see that blade is just, if you're not careful, as you're deploying it, it's probably going to rub on that strap. And over time, you know, that strap might come clean off. Now, what could be done about it? I'm not sure. The strap, I think, could have been higher, or actually the strap maybe will loosen over time and become kind of more pliable. And so when you undo it, it kind of pops out more like that. So maybe a little bit of a thinner leather on that strap would have been, you know, kind of a way to keep it out of the cutting path. But that's really the only thing I can think about this blade that I really don't like. I think is a negative. Would I prefer it without this top guard? Absolutely. I very well might cut off this top guard. I might take off this coating, even though this coating is quite nice. It might be tough to take off, right? Even with a coating remover, really acidic coating remover. Because I just think it would be really pretty, right? Really pretty knife. Single guard. Just imagine this like satin and that leather sheath. I think that'd be awesome. Let me know what you guys think in the comments about that. So what's unique? I think you're getting a lot of design, a lot of quality. And one thing I didn't mention in positives is the fit and finish is really, really solid. There's no sharp edges there. This is all clean lines, guys. You know, the tang's not proud. You know, nothing's loose. It's just really solid fit and finish. And so for a really interesting design choice, kind of a really cool looking fighting knife, for the quality and how inexpensive it is, I think that's really unique. A lot of the cheaper knives you get, they just don't have maybe the design flares. They don't have the wow factor that I think this kind of is approaching. So that's what's unique to me. This is an absolute recommend, guys. It's a durable knife. It's a good knife. Would I call it a fantastic, outstanding knife? No. It's, you know, it's still around $50, and there's a lot of competition in that $50 price range. I mean, you have the Cold Steel leather neck, you have the Cold Steel SRK, you have the Ontario series, the SP series. You know, Civivi makes a bunch of knives in that price range. So there is a lot of competition, but I still think this is a great knife for the price. I'm glad that the first knife that I was sent by a manufacturer was a solid one. That's a really positive thing to me. You guys know I'm going to give you the honest review regardless of if I did not like the knife, but I'm glad to say I did like this knife, and I think it's a great knife, and it's an absolute recommend. Guys, thanks so much for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video. Peace.